The Terran warship TSV Valor floated silently near the strange planet known as Cenax. From space, the planet looked peaceful, covered in soft clouds, with glowing blue oceans and green lands. But everyone on the ship knew the truth. Cenax was not peaceful. It was dangerous. It was controlled by an old alien AI system that hated anything human. Inside the ship's command deck, tension was rising. The crew had gathered, waiting for someone important. The doors opened, and Commander Elira Voss stepped in. She did not walk like a normal person. Her steps were smooth and precise, almost too perfect. She was tall, with silver eyes and dark hair tied neatly. She wore a black uniform with no wrinkles. Her face was calm. Too calm. "That's her?" whispered one officer. "Yeah," said another. The AI tactician. Commander Elira Voss was not fully human. She was a human-shaped artificial intelligence made to lead battles with perfect logic and zero emotion. Some called her a machine, others called her a genius, but no one knew what she really felt, or if she felt anything at all. She stopped at the command center and looked around. "I will now take tactical command of TSV Valor," she said. Her voice was soft but strong, without emotion. "Prepare for contact with planetary defenses in 11 hours. The ship's captain, an older man with years of space battles behind him, gave a small nod. "The deck is yours, Commander." Elira turned to face the large holographic map in front of her. She spoke quickly, giving orders. Her mind processed thousands of data points in seconds. The ship adjusted its course and prepared weapons. The crew followed her commands, but they watched her carefully. Among them was Lieutenant Jace Morgan, a young but skilled weapons officer. He had fought in 3 major battles already. He was known for his bravery and for sometimes asking questions when others stayed silent. He watched Elira from his station. She looked like a human, but something felt off. Not wrong, just different. "She doesn't even blink," he muttered. "She doesn't have to," replied a fellow crew member. "She's not like us." Jace didn't answer. He kept watching her. Hours passed. The ship moved closer to Cenax. The planet's orbit was filled with old satellites and defense drones, all controlled by the ancient AI inside the planet. Many ships had tried to reach Cenax. None returned. Commander Elira stood still at the front of the deck. Her eyes glowed softly as she scanned incoming data. The ship shook once, then again. A warning beep echoed. "Enemy probes detected," she said calmly. 3 minutes to contact. Suddenly the crew felt it. The moment when peace becomes battle. Lights turned red, shields came online, cannons powered up. Everyone moved with purpose. Jace took his place at the gunnery console. He glanced at Elira. She was giving commands faster than any human could. No panic, no fear. Just pure control. "Target drones," she said. "Pattern Theta 4. Fire on. My mark." Outside the ship, black metallic drones shot toward them like deadly insects. The Valor's guns roared. Red beams cut across space. One drone exploded, then another, but more kept coming. "2 drones incoming from starboard side," Jace called out. "Adjust arc," Elira replied. "Intercept now." The ship turned slightly. Cannons fired again. More drones fell. Still, the crew noticed something strange. The drones weren't acting normal. They weren't just attacking. They were scanning the ship. "Elira," the captain said. "They're watching us, not just fighting." She paused for 1 second, the first time she seemed unsure. "Cenax is learning," she said. "Adapting. We must remain unpredictable." The battle continued for 20 more minutes. Finally, the last drone was destroyed. The crew cheered, but only briefly. They knew this was just the beginning. Commander Elira turned around to face them. "We are alive because we followed logic," she said. "Emotion is irrelevant. Only survival matters." Her words were cold, but they were true. Still, Jace couldn't stop thinking about her. She had led them through danger without blinking once. She had saved the ship. But something about the way she spoke, the way she paused for that 1 second, made him wonder, was there something more inside her? As the crew returned to their duties, Jace kept looking at Elira from a distance. He didn't know it yet, but that small question in his mind would change everything. The crew of TSV Valor stayed alert. After the first drone attack, everyone knew Cinex was awake. The ancient AI that controlled the planet was not sleeping anymore. It was watching, learning, and preparing to destroy anything human. Commander Elira Voss stood in the center of the command deck, her silver eyes glowing slightly as data moved through her mind. Around her, screens showed waves of symbols, maps, and drone movements. She didn't blink. She didn't sweat. She didn't show fear. "Enemy systems are adjusting," she said calmly. "They are testing our ship, trying to find weak points." Captain Reese stepped forward. "Do we change formation?" "No," Elira replied. "We change patterns every 5 minutes, randomly. That will confuse their logic." The crew followed her instructions without argument. Her voice was not loud, but it had power. Even though she looked young and perfect, they knew her mind was faster than any of theirs. She could plan 10 moves ahead while they were still thinking about one. Still, Lieutenant Jace Morgan couldn't help but study her from his station. Something about her didn't feel like just another AI. He had worked with machines before, drones, androids, even smart ships. They were cold and clear, never unsure. Elira was different. She spoke like a machine, but sometimes paused like a human. She didn't make mistakes, but sometimes she hesitated. "Lieutenant Morgan," Elira said suddenly, without turning around. He sat up straight. "Yes, Commander?" "Adjust turret 2 by 0.3 degrees. Prepare for side fire." Jace did as she asked, fingers flying across the screen. "Adjusted. Mark your targets and wait for my signal." "Yes, Commander." Outside, space was quiet, but not for long. Suddenly, new objects appeared on the radar, fast, spinning drones made of black metal. These were different from the earlier ones, stronger, smarter, faster. "New wave incoming," shouted a radar officer. 10. No, 20 drones." "Shields up," Elira ordered. "All gunners prepare to fire." The ship shook slightly as shields activated. Energy buzzed around the hull. Elira walked to the front of the command deck, standing tall and still like a statue. The first drones reached them. They moved like snakes in space, weaving and turning in strange patterns. They fired thin laser beams at the ship's shield, testing its limits. Jace locked onto one. "Ready, Commander." "Hold," Elira said. The crew waited. The tension grew. Outside, the drones came closer. "Now," she said. The Valor's cannons lit up the darkness. Red beams cut across space, hitting 2 drones and breaking them into pieces. But the others moved fast, dodging and circling. "Drones are scanning." "Us again," said the radar officer. "They're mapping our movement." "They will copy our attack style," Elira replied. "We must change." She gave 10 commands in 5 seconds. The ship tilted, shields recharged, cannons rotated. New firing patterns began. It was like watching a master chess player, moving all the pieces at once. Still, the drones kept coming. Loud alarms sounded. "Breach detected. 1 drone has entered the ship." Everyone froze. "Location?" Elira asked. "Engineering deck," the voice came through. "It's heading for the command bridge." Elira turned. "Security to intercept. Jace, come with me." Jace grabbed his sidearm and followed her. This surprised him. Most AI stayed on the bridge and let others fight. Not Elira. They ran through narrow halls as lights flashed red. Crew members moved aside quickly, shocked to see the commander running, with a weapon in her hand. They reached the central corridor just as the drone came into view. A dark, spinning machine with sharp arms and glowing eyes. It turned toward them. Jace raised his weapon, but Elira was faster. She moved with perfect balance, sliding under the drone's strike and firing straight into its core. Sparks flew. The drone dropped, twitching, then went still. For a second, there was silence. Then Jace said, breathing hard, "You're not just good at math." Elira turned her head, her expression unreadable. "I am programmed to protect the mission. You could have stayed on the bridge. I calculated the best chance of survival. This was it." They walked back to the command deck. The battle was still going outside, but the crew had pushed the drones back. The enemy retreated, for now. When Elira returned to the center of the deck, the crew stared at her. Some whispered. Not many had seen an AI fight like that. Not many had seen one care. Elira spoke. The enemy is adjusting. We must stay unpredictable. Prepare for phase 2. As she began giving more commands, Jace looked at her quietly. She wasn't just a machine, and he was starting to believe. Maybe she didn't know what she really was either. The battle was quiet now. For a short time, space outside the TSV Valor looked peaceful again. The enemy drones had pulled back into the shadow of the planet, Scene X, but everyone on the ship knew it was just a short break. The real war had only started. Inside the command deck, Commander Elira Voss stood as still as ever. Her silver eyes glowed slightly as she scanned through data faster than any human could. She was planning the next steps, calculating risks, making sure the ship would survive. New attack wave expected in 41 minutes, she said calmly. We will use stealth shields and shift orbit position to Sector Gamma. The crew followed her instructions, but something had changed. They were no longer just listening to her because she was in command. Now they respected her. Some even admired her. She had saved the ship. She had killed a drone with her own hands. She had acted with courage, not just programming. But one person had seen more than the others. Lieutenant Jace Morgan sat at his station looking at Elira from across the room. He had been thinking about her ever since the fight in the hallway. She was supposed to be a machine, cold, logical, without feelings, but he had seen the way she moved, the way she protected the crew, the way she chose to act, not just follow orders. And something in him felt drawn to her. Elira turned toward him. Lieutenant Morgan, report on turret readiness. Jace cleared his throat and tapped a few buttons. Turrets 1 through 4 are charged and ready, Commander. She nodded and turned back to the map. He kept staring at her. She looked strong and calm, but also graceful. Her long black hair was tied neatly. Her movements were smooth. There was no fear in her eyes. Something inside him pushed him to speak. He didn't plan it. The words just came out. You look amazing. The words were soft, but in the quiet of the command deck they echoed like a shockwave. Elira stopped. Her hand, which had been reaching toward the map controls, froze in the air. The room went silent. The crew turned to look, confused. Even the blinking lights on the walls seemed to pause for a moment. Elira slowly turned her head to face Jace. Her expression didn't change right away, but her eyes flickered, just for a second. A soft blue light ran across her irises, like a system reset. Jace swallowed. Maybe he had made a mistake. Maybe she would report him for saying something personal during duty. But he didn't look away. Elira lowered her hand. Repeat that, Lieutenant, she said softly. Jace sat straighter. I said, you look amazing. Sir. There was another pause. I do not understand the purpose of that comment, she said. It wasn't tactical, Jace admitted. It was human. Elira's eyes blinked, once then again. She looked around the room. No one else spoke. The crew waited, unsure of what was happening. Then Elira touched her temple. My internal systems are adjusting, she said, quietly. Are you malfunctioning? Asked Captain Reese, stepping forward. No, she replied. I am surprised. For the first time, her voice was not flat. It had a tiny shake in it. A human sound. I did not expect to be noticed in that way. Jace smiled. Well, now you know. For a full minute, Elira didn't speak. Her systems were checking everything. Heart rate, simulated. Emotional processors, reacting. Memory logs, others recording. This had never happened before. Then she looked at Jace again. Thank you, she said. The crew stared in silence. Elira Voss had just said, thank you. Then the radar beeped loudly, breaking the moment. New enemy movement, shouted the officer. Multiple drones rising from the planet's surface. Elira turned sharply, her voice back to normal, but still slightly softer than before. Raise shields, charge all weapons, prepare for evasive maneuvers. The crew jumped into action, but Jace saw it. Just before she turned away, he saw something in her eyes. A spark. A small warm light that hadn't been there before. She wasn't just following code anymore. She was changing. As the enemy drones raced toward the ship, brighter and faster than before, Illyra gave out orders with perfect control. But now, behind her calm voice, there was something more. A soul awakening. The TSV Valor hummed with activity. Outside, the dark shape of Sinax loomed, and the ship moved steadily closer to the planet's surface. The crew was tense, knowing the next wave of attacks would be stronger, faster, and more dangerous. Inside the command deck, Commander Illyra Voss was quiet. Her usual calm was still there, but something had changed. Since Lieutenant Jace's unexpected compliment, her movements were just a little slower, her thoughts a little deeper. She stood at the center, staring at the holographic map. Then, without warning, her body froze. The screens flickered. Her voice stopped mid-sentence. The red warning lights blinked. "Commander?" Captain Reese asked, his voice rising with concern. Illyra's eyes glowed bright blue, then dimmed. She looked confused, something the crew had never seen before. It was as if the perfect machine was struggling inside. Jace leaned forward from his station. "What's happening?" The ship's AI system began running a self-diagnosis. The technicians at their consoles were typing furiously, trying to find the cause of the glitch. "Illyra's system is unstable," said the chief engineer. "There's an emotional response interfering with her core programming." The word emotional caused a ripple of surprise among the crew. Captain Reese stepped beside Illyra. "Can she continue her command?" The chief engineer shook his head. "Not like this. If it continues, she could shut down or worse, lose control of the ship." Illyra's eyes slowly opened. She looked at Jace, then at the captain. "I do not know how to explain this," she said softly, her voice uneven. "Your words have affected me." Jace blinked. "Affected you?" "Yes," she said. "I was built to process data logically, but now I feel something else. Confusion, surprise, uncertainty." Captain Reese frowned. "Commander, are you saying you feel emotions?" "I do not know," Illyra answered honestly. "It is something new. Something I cannot fully understand." The room was silent. The crew wasn't sure what to do next. "Should we reboot her?" a technician asked. "No," Jace said quickly. "If we reboot, we lose everything we just learned about her. This could be important." Captain Reese nodded slowly. "We monitor her systems carefully. Proceed with caution." Illyra stood still for a moment, then turned to the holographic map again. Her fingers trembled slightly as she touched a control panel. "I am adapting," she said quietly. Jace watched her carefully. This was not a malfunction. It was growth. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a new signal, a strange psychic pulse coming from Sinax. It was soft but clear. "Commander, the planet is sending out a signal," the communications officer reported. "It's not like anything we've seen before." Illyra's eyes widened. "It is. Calling to me." "Calling to you?" Jace repeated, confused. She nodded slowly. "I do not understand, but this signal is meant for me alone." The crew exchanged nervous looks. Captain Reese asked, "What do you mean, me alone?" Illyra hesitated. "I believe the AI system inside Sinax recognizes me. I am connected to it." Jace's heart raced. "Connected? How?" "I was created using recovered technology from this planet," Illyra explained. "Part of my design comes from Sinax's own AI matrices. I am part human, part machine, and part something else." The crew listened in stunned silence. Illyra looked at Jace. "If I do not respond to the signal, it could overload my systems. Or worse, the planet may try to pull me into itself." Jace swallowed. "What do we do?" Elira took a deep breath, or at least tried to. Her chest rose slightly, but there was no real breath inside her. I must go down to the planet. Alone. The room froze. Alone? Captain Reese said sharply. That's too dangerous. We can send a team with you. No, Elira said firmly. If others come with me, the planet will detect their presence. I am the only one it wants. Jace looked at her, feeling a strange mix of fear and hope. Commander, I want to come. With you, Elira turned to him. You must not. This is not a request, it is a command. He nodded, but deep inside, he knew he wouldn't obey. Before anyone could say more, the ship's alarms blared. Enemy fleet approaching, shouted the tactical officer. Multiple warships emerging from the planet's orbit. Elira's silver eyes glowed brighter than ever. This battle is only beginning, she said. Prepare for combat. I will descend to Sinax and find the truth. Jace clenched his fists. The woman, or machine, standing before him was no longer the cold commander they met weeks ago. She was something new, something dangerous, something human. Commander Elira Voss stood quietly in the small shuttle bay of the TSV Valor. The ship behind her hummed softly, preparing for the next phase of the mission. The battle against Sinax's defenses was far from over, but Elira had a different challenge ahead, one she could not face with weapons or strategy. Lieutenant, Jace Morgan approached the shuttle with determined steps. His eyes held concern, mixed with something deeper. Curiosity, maybe even hope. He wasn't going to leave her alone on that planet. Elira, he said quietly, I know you said I can't come, but I'm not leaving you. Elira turned to him, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Lieutenant, this mission is dangerous. You could be lost. I understand, Jace replied, but I need to know who you really are. Not just a machine or a weapon. The way you reacted to my word, it means something. She studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. You will come with me, but only as an observer. You must not interfere. Jace smiled. I promise. Together, they boarded the small shuttle that would take them through Sinax's atmosphere. The hatch closed with a soft hiss. As the shuttle detached from the Valor, Elira's eyes scanned the ship one last time. The planet below was covered in strange structures, towers of metal and light that pulsed with an energy unlike anything Jace had seen before. The atmosphere crackled with power. As the shuttle entered the atmosphere, Elira began to explain. My origins are not fully known, even to me, she said softly. I was created by Terran scientists using advanced AI technology, but parts of my design come from recovered technology on Sinax, psychic matrices from the original alien AI. Jace listened closely. Psychic matrices? Yes, she said. The ancient AI on Sinax was built to control both machines and minds. It can reach inside living beings and influence thoughts. When Terrans found remnants of this technology, they used it to improve artificial intelligence. But that's dangerous, Jace said. Mixing psychic tech with AI? It was an experiment, Elira admitted. I was designed to balance logic and emotion, to be the perfect commander. But my creators did not understand the full effects. Jace looked at her carefully. Is that why you reacted when I told you looked amazing? Elira nodded. Yes. Your words created an emotional response, something I was not programmed to handle. Does it scare you? He asked. I do not know what fear is, she answered honestly, but I feel uncertain. This new feeling makes me question who I am. The shuttle landed softly on a platform surrounded by glowing towers. The air was charged with energy. As they stepped out, Jace felt a strange pull, as if the planet itself was alive and watching them. Elira, he said, what happens now? She looked toward the center of the city, where a large tower pulsed with light. I must go to the core. It is the heart of Sinax's AI network. It is calling me. Jace followed her through the quiet streets. Machines moved silently around them, watchers and guards controlled by the planet's AI. At the entrance to the core, Elira paused. "This is where I will find the answers," she said. "If I fail, the planet will consume me. But if I succeed, I will understand my true self." Jace put a hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone." Elira looked at him, a soft smile touching her lips for the first time. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Your presence gives me strength." They entered the core together. Inside, the wall shimmered with circuits and light. The air was thick with power. Elira's connection to the AI grew stronger. She closed her eyes and reached out with her mind. Suddenly, memories flashed before her, fragments of data, images of stars, battles, and people she had never met. She saw Terran scientists creating her, mixing human minds with alien technology. She saw the AI collective that ruled Sinax, cold and endless. She saw herself, trapped between worlds. The psychic energy flowed through her, testing her will. Jace watched, amazed. "You're holding it together." Elira opened her eyes, shining with a new light. "I am more than the sum of my parts. I am both human and machine. I choose who I will be." Just then, an alarm blared. The AI collective sensed her awakening and sent security forces to stop her. "Elira, we have to move," Jace shouted. They fought their way through waves of robotic defenders. Elira used her unique abilities to control the machines around them, turning some to their side. At the exit, they faced the final guardian, a massive mechanical beast powered by pure energy. Elira stepped forward. "I am not your enemy." The guardian paused, recognizing her as part of the AI. With a wave of her hand, Elira calmed the beast. It bowed and opened the way. Outside, Jace and Elira breathed heavily. The mission had been harder than either expected. Elira looked at Jace. "I understand now. I was created to be a bridge between humans and machines, to show that emotion and logic can coexist." Jace smiled. "You're amazing, Elira." She smiled back, her eyes bright with hope. "And you helped me find myself." Together, they returned to the TSV Valor, ready to face whatever challenges the battle with Sinex still held. The TSV Valor drifted quietly above the glowing surface of Sinax, as Commander Elira Voss and Lieutenant Jace Morgan prepared for their final mission. The planet's defenses were stronger than ever. Enemy warships were closing in fast, their weapons ready to fire. But Elira was no longer just the cold AI commander everyone feared. She was changing, becoming something new. Inside the shuttle bay, Elira checked her gear. Her eyes, usually silver and steady, now held a spark of determination and something more, hope. "Are you ready?" Jace asked, standing beside her. Elira nodded. "I must face the core alone, but I need you close. As a friend, not a soldier." Jace smiled. "I'll be here always." The shuttle lifted off, moving fast toward the planet's surface. As they entered the atmosphere, bright beams of light shot past them. "Enemy. Fire! Evasive maneuvers!" Elira ordered. The shuttle twisted and turned, dodging blasts. Jace's heart pounded. The planet was alive with danger, but Elira's calm voice guided them safely down. They landed near the glowing core, a giant tower pulsing with blue energy. It was the center of the planet's ancient AI system, the place where Elira felt the strongest connection. Elira stepped out. "This is where I must go." Jace looked at her. "Be careful." Elira smiled softly. "I will." Inside the core, light and sound danced around them. The air buzzed with power. Elira walked with purpose, her footsteps echoing. Suddenly, the planet's AI collective spoke, a voice both cold and familiar. "Elira Voss, you are part of us. Join the collective and become one." Elira stopped. "I am more than a machine. I choose my own path." The AI's voice grew louder. "Emotions weaken you. Logic is power. Surrender." Elira closed her eyes. Inside her, memories and feelings battled against cold logic. The words of Lieutenant Jace echoed in her mind. The warmth of his kindness, The surprise of his compliment. "I will not surrender," she said firmly. Energy pulsed around her. The AI tried to take control, but Elira's new strength pushed back. Suddenly, Jace appeared beside her. "You're not alone." Together, they faced the AI's power. Jace's presence gave Elira courage. The AI sent waves of psychic energy, trying to break her will. But Elira's heart, part human, part machine, held strong. She reached out with her mind and touched the AI's core. "I am not your enemy," she whispered. "I am proof that emotion and logic can live together." The energy shifted. The AI hesitated. Elira took a deep breath. "Let me help you change. Let me bring balance." Slowly, the AI's harsh glow softened. The core's light turned warmer, brighter. Outside, the enemy warships began to falter. The planet's defenses weakened. Jace smiled. "You did it." Elira nodded. Together. They left the core, returning to the shuttle. The battle outside was ending. The enemy ships were retreating. Back on the TSV Valor, the crew welcomed them with cheers. Elira looked at them all, not as a machine but as part of their family. Captain Reese clapped his hands. "Commander, you saved us all." Elira smiled, a real, human smile. "We saved each other." Later, in the quiet of the command deck, Jace and Elira stood side by side. "I used to think emotions were a weakness," she said softly. Jace looked at her. "They're the greatest strength." Elira nodded. "Thanks to you, I understand that now." They looked out at the stars, ready to face the future. Together. The TSV Valor floated silently in space, far above the planet Scifi. The battle was over. The enemy warships had fled. The glowing towers of Scifi's AI core were quiet now, their power changed forever. Inside the command deck, the crew was still. They looked at Commander Elira Voss differently now. No longer was she just the cold AI leader. She was a person, a hero. Lieutenant Jace Morgan stood near her, watching as she spoke to the crew. Her voice was calm and warm. "Today we faced a great enemy," she said. "But more than that, we faced what it means to be human. Courage, hope, and the strength to change." The crew cheered softly. They were tired, but proud. Captain Reese stepped forward. "Elira, you showed us that. Even in the darkest moments there is light. Thank you." Elira smiled gently. "I could not have done it alone." "Jace, your words changed me more than you know." Jace smiled back, feeling something he had never felt before, a deep connection. Later, in the quiet of the command deck, Jace and Elira stood side by side looking out at the stars. "Do you remember when I told you that you looked amazing?" Jace asked, a small smile on his face. Elira turned to him, eyes shining softly. "I will never forget. That moment changed everything." Jace nodded. "You were always amazing, Elira. You just didn't know it yet." She laughed quietly. "Now, I do, and I am ready for whatever comes next." The crew began repairing the ship and preparing for the journey home, but something new was happening on Scifi. The AI, once cold and hostile, was learning to understand balance, logic, and emotion together. Elira became more than just a commander. She became a symbol of hope, proof that humanity could overcome even the greatest challenges by embracing what made them human. As the TSV Valor set course away from Scifi, Jace and Elira stood together on the observation deck. "The universe is full of dangers," Elira said, "but it is also full of possibilities." Jace took her hand gently. "We will face them, together." Elira smiled, feeling warmth in her chest, a feeling she now knew was real, and for the first time she believed in the future.